What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Jaybird Bassing, and today we're going to answer some questions from y'all on how to fish your first tournament. Alright, so the questions that you guys asked is what to get, what to prepare for, what to do during a tournament, and what not to do. And some pretty good questions. I mean, there's some things that always run through my mind, and when I first got into it, those are pretty much the exact same questions that I was thinking about going into fishing the KBF trail. So let's just jump right into it. Alright, so assuming you already have a kayak and you've been fishing out of it, you know, just on a weekend or just for fun, some of the tournament accessories that I would recommend, and let me start off by saying that everything that I recommend or say during this video is like my personal preference, and I'm not getting it out of some book or something. This is just personal experience and just trial and error. So of course you're going to want a hog trough and get you some tourney tags. You don't know what those are. Here's one right here. Put your identifier in, keep it dry, and they also carry a model that floats. I have a catch measuring board. I used to just buy the cheap plastic ones, but I decided to go splurge a little bit and get this one because the plastic ones had a real big problem with this right here breaking off my toolbox or in my truck. But show you how this identifier system works here. Secures on there. Just tighten her down. Now I got to measure fish, and I flip those up and take my measurement right there. Another thing that I carry to each tournament is, I call this my battle fishing box. And basically it keeps everything in there, like my depth finder and just little extra hooks and stuff, lights, batteries, just everything. Pretty much keep this to keep all the junk from spreading around my truck, because my first year on the trail I didn't have this, and I had junk just all over the truck all season, and it got pretty old. Also in this box I keep a bunch of spinner baits. I don't really fish spinner baits too much, but if conditions are right, they're right there. And I keep a rain suit and a dry bag in here just in case. As you notice, I carry a lot of tackle. I pretty much carry everything I can to fish any condition, and I do this because you can practice 3 or 4 days before the tournament day, and then get out there tournament day and it could be pouring down rain or freezing cold or something. Weather can change like that. So I just like being prepared. If I see the weather is about to change for the next day, I may quickly time some stuff before I launch that morning or something like that, just to be ready. The second accessory I'd have to go with would probably be a depth finder. There's a lot of people on the trail that don't use depth finders, and they still do really well. But just for me, I can't go out without a depth finder. I have to have one. But if you don't have one, you can just as easily read the land to find points and drop-offs and all that. It's just a little tougher when you get out into deeper water. The depth finder that I carry is a Humminbird Helix 7, and I used to carry a Lowrance Hook 4. It was really small, so it was kind of tough to really get a lot of detail about what's down there, and plus the screen was so small, I mean, stuff would fly by. So I like having that bigger screen on the Helix to be able to just see what I've just passed by, so I have some time to kind of look at it and figure out what it was, and it just gives me a little more confidence while I'm out on the water. A couple other small accessories I would recommend would be some fish grips, because you catch that big old bass, man, you want to be able to hold on to them, and there ain't nothing worse than that fish flopping, getting out of your fingers, hitting the deck, and flopping out of the boat, and you got nothing. So a good set of fish grips or donkey leash or just whatever, just to keep that fish secure while you calm it down so you can measure it. Another real small accessory is a good pair of needle nose pliers to get treble hooks out, and some braid scissors. I use the Kudas, the little small set of scissors. They work really great. I've actually fished with those for about a year and a half now, and they've been through all types of weather, from cold to rain to whatever, and they've lasted pretty good. And the very last thing that I would probably recommend taking would be some way to charge your cell phone. I have the Radar 115, which has a little battery box in the front. This is a new feature I installed last year that has helped me pretty good and may help you guys out too. It got a voltage meter, and I installed 2 USB ports on this. It's all switchable, so it powers my depth finder and my GoPro battery cameras up here. It all powers from that one battery box. All right, as far as my rod setup, as far as what I carry to each trail event, I mean, if you ever saw me at a trail event in a kayak, you know, out there fishing, you'll look at all my rods and be like, good Lord, how much does he need? Can he fit any more on there? But I carry, you know, eight rods, and they all serve a purpose. And they're not just for looks, but they really do all serve a purpose, and they save me a lot of time. So before a tournament, I definitely keep all my rods in these rod gloves, just to keep them protected while they're in the back of my truck and stuff. And they're all kind of labeled. You can get these labels off rodglove.com. And that's just to protect my equipment while I'm going down the road. Now, as you may notice, I carry a bunch of rods and setups. I carried all these rods, and it's 8 total, to every tournament I pretty much fish. And my theory is you never know what you're going to get into when you get out there. So I like to be a little prepared. And pre-fishing, you know, I'll definitely take all these out there and just fish the conditions. Instead of swapping a bunch of lures, you know, I have everything tied on. I'm just reaching back and swapping and fishing. So it's, to me, it's a whole lot faster. If I were just starting out, and when I did first start out, I stuck with 4 rods. And pretty much one for swim baits, one for chatters and spinners, you know, one for cranks, and one for like jigging and frogs and stuff like that. Something a little bit heavier. So if you ever see inside my tackle box, I carry a whole bunch of tackle. But again, it all serves a purpose, and through lots of trial and error, this is kind of what works for me. I take, you know, the basic colors, your green pumpkins. I stick with the natural colors a lot. And then to the side, I have a little side pot of, you know, flashier stuff, just in case the bass are chasing shad or something like that, and the water is a little dirtier. You know, I have that little flash just to kind of, you know, try out. And I mean, just spend a lot of time with, you know, what you're fishing with before you go out there and try to catch a limit with them. Because believe me, there's nothing worse than, you know, coming back from a tournament. Oh, I had some there. But there's nothing worse coming back from a tournament, and on that long drive back, you're sitting there thinking, golly, I should have thrown this or thrown that. You know, I never want to come back second guessing myself. So that's why I throw just about everything I got. If I'm not catching anything, I'm fishing all the way down to a finesse, you know. All right, now let's jump into what to prepare for. First and foremost, you know, research the lake you're going to. If it's not close by, and like a lot of my tournaments are, you know, 3 to 6, sometimes 8 hours away. So it's not like I can just drive up there one weekend and pre-fish, you know. So I do a lot of research on Navionics and different maps where I can find, you know, depth contours and all that. And also Google Earth is a huge help. So one tip I can give you that may help you out while researching all these maps is pretty much go on Google, type in boat ramps for the lake you're going to. It'll pull up, you know, no telling what website, and have a bunch of boat ramps listed. And then get on Google Earth, you know, make sure those boat ramps are there. And then pretty much I have, you know, 2 screens in here, right here, to have contour maps on, and then Google Earth, and I'll sit there and compare, and pretty much find out, you know, depending on what time of year it is and all that, where I want to fish. And while I'm doing that on Google Earth, there's a measuring tool on there to measure my distance, so I can go ahead and map my route out. And this is going to help me. This is going to pretty much help me plan my day to where I can get from point A to point B at certain times. And also it helps me, be back at the ramp on time, so I'm not missing any kind of deadlines or anything like that. So another thing I like to do is research the weather, 1 or 2 weeks before the tournament. This is pretty much going to, tell me a lot of things, about the depending on what season it is. Tell me my fish are going to be, shallow or deep or searching. It'll tell you a lot. So just do a lot of research on weather, and it'll put you in the right spot. So if you do plan on pre-fishing, I recommend if the lake's within driving distance. For example, I'm gonna fish Guntersville in about a month, so I'm gonna try my best to get up there, as much as I can before the tournament. So then I'm not heading up there after work or early in the morning and rushing my practice day. I want to go ahead and establish a lot of places where bass are going to hold up and all that, and go ahead and kind of locate and get a good feel of the lake. So that way, tournament day, I can just pretty much go straight to the boat ramp, launch off, and go to my first spot. Now, if I'm fishing a tournament, like I said, 6 to 8 hours away, then I normally try to take the day before the tournament off and leave early as I can to get up there, to do at least 1 to 2 days of pre-fishing. Now let's talk about pre-fishing a little bit. I laugh because it's still a work in progress with me. I'm still practicing on it, learning how to do it, but I can tell you that what I've currently been trying is just, setting up little mock tournaments on the lake surrounding my area. Just say, like Saturday I'll pretend it's practice day, and then Sunday I'll pretend it's like tournament day, and I'll give it my all. And that just kind of helps me, get better at practicing. So that's what I've been doing to train for practicing. So what I can try to tell you that I've learned so far from my experience is, have at least 3 or 4 launch locations. So you can easily just pick up from point A and go to point B and try it out. And to me, that just keeps your options open, So what makes sense to me while I'm out there pre-fishing is don't try to catch every fish on every spot. First thing I'll do is I'll go out to my spots where I think fish can be held up, and I'm constantly watching my depth finder. And if I locate fish, I'll try to catch one, just one. I know it's tempting, but just catch one fish. Mark it right there, jot it down in your memory or write it down, whatever, on what lure you caught it with, what color, depth, and all that. And then just move on. Just keep moving. Just cover a lot of water on practice day, especially if you just got 1 day, because you want to cover a ton of water and go ahead and try to figure out what you can in that 1 day. So now let's talk about tournament day. Well, let's talk about the night before tournament day. The night before, I'm going to sit down after a hard, long day of practice, re-rig everything, retie what I think is going to work. Basically, go back over my game plans. By that time, I should already have a pretty solid game plan in my head, but I just want to look at my maps again, kind of go over everything, and then kind of mark out where I want to start, from morning to evening. I just want to know where to start. All right, so here we are, tournament day, the day we've been waiting for. I'm usually going to get to the launch point about 45 minutes to an hour before first launch, because I want to double check my batteries, get everything set up, and just kind of, and it's kind of weird, but I kind of enjoy to soak up the outdoors and just accumulate my body to the climate and everything. I don't know, just become one with the weather. But no, seriously, I like to get out there and kind of soak it all in and relax my mind, and that way, when launch time comes up, I launch out and start heading to my first spot, and just sitting there kind of waiting for first cast. When my timer goes off for first cast, it's time to get it. All right, so it's first cast, and what I usually like to do is make a couple casts and kind of loosen up, kind of calm myself down, get the feel of everything, because I'm telling you, if I don't do that, I'll get out there and just start burning it. Every cast, I'll be burning it, man, and before you know it, it's 10 o'clock, halfway through your tournament, and you have caught nothing because you're just fishing too fast and you're out of your element. So just get out there first cast, calm down, make a couple casts, relax, and just get everything down, your retrieves and your pitches, get all that down right there at first cast. So plan A, plan B, and plan C, my 3 spots I've picked out to launch at. I try to keep them sized down a little bit, so if I get out there on plan A and I'm fishing till about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I hadn't got a bite and I don't see anything on the depth finder and nothing's working, I mean, there's a lot of times where I'll head back to the ramp and go ahead and plan to move to plan B. So I just want you to keep in mind that you can do that, and that's an option. Don't think you're like stuck in one location and since you're not catching anything, you're just going to be stuck there all day. I mean, pick up and move somewhere else, try something else out. I mean, I've caught a 5-fish limit in an hour and a half before, and it's possible. So who knows, you can pack up from spot A and go to spot B and catch a limit like right there. All right, and speaking of grinding, all right, you're out there, you're not really doing too good. It's just not happening for you. I mean, so at that point, usually I'll sit there and take a break, man. I'll just sit there and take a break and kind of refocus and kind of think, all right, what have I not done? What have I not tried? What can I do? And sometimes, if the weather conditions are kind of screwy, you just kind of got to look at everything and kind of reevaluate, you just got to stay focused and not give up and just drive forward. That's the best thing I can tell you. Trust me, you're not the only one out in the water fishing that tournament that's having a horrible day. Believe me, I'm telling you. Because, take Sandy Cooper for example, 122 anglers, 25 of those anglers out of 122 caught a limit. 25. I mean, you imagine how many people were frustrated that day. And I even talked to guys at the captain's meeting that night about how their day went and all that, and they were just, the frustration I saw was insane. But so just keep in mind, you're not the only one out there having a bad day, and there's not a dark cloud over you or anything. It's just fishing, man. Somebody told me one time that this is one sport that you have to be good at losing at, because if you're a sour loser or sore loser, then you'll never get better, because you're not going to win every tournament. You're not going to do well in every tournament. Trust me. My first year in KBF my first year on the KBF trail was freaking awful, man. I went 4 or 5 tournaments in a row without even catching a limit, man. It was a rough season, but I just kept my head in the game and drove forward and pulled through it. So, all right, guys. So I hope this helped you out. And if you have any more questions, comment on here, send me a message, email, whatever you want to do. And I'll do my best to get back with you as soon as I can. It's getting to be right in the heart of tournament season, thankfully. And so I stay pretty busy, but I would love to reach back out to you guys and love to hear from you. So until next time, this is Jason Smithman with J Bird Bassin, and we'll see y'all out there.